especially our legislative delegation, Senator Bergen, Representative Larry Strickland, and Representative Howard Penny. At this time, I'm going to ask Vice Chairman Nickel if he would lead us in the pledge and the invocation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for another beautiful day here on this earth and your land. Before we can begin to ask you for anything else, let us thank you for the many blessings that you have bestowed upon us. Lord, thank you for allowing today for all these wonderful leaders in this county to get together. Please be with all of us and let us make the best decisions in order to help this county. Lord, please be with our law enforcement, with our firefighters and first responders, be with our military. Those are the ones that are out here protecting us in harm's way. Lord, I pray that you be with everybody in this county and keep them safe. Also, for this food that we are about to eat, may it bless and nourish our bodies, and so we can do your work in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Vice Chairman Nickel. At this time, we will pause everything, invite everyone to have lunch, and then we will begin after everyone's had a chance to eat. Don't be bashful.
was done last time, blew up on them or whatever.
We're going to go ahead and get started. If you haven't finished eating, please continue. The first thing I'd like to do is go around the room and have everyone introduce themselves and the town you or who you represent and what your position is. I'll start it and we'll go down this way. My name is Lou Weatherspoon. I'm the chairman of the Harnett County Board of Commissioners.
Jim Bergen, North Carolina Senate, District 12, which is all of Lee, all of Harnett, and part of Johnston County.
Larry Strickland, North Carolina House District 28 is comprised of eastern Johnston County. It goes up Interstate 40 and stops at 210 and goes into Anger. So I have one municipality in Harnett County, and that being Anger.
Howard Penny, House District 53, which is the central part of Harnett County. I've got the other 4 municipalities. Larry's got Anger.
I'm Patsy Carson, Mayor in Irwin, and Chairman of the Harnett County Mayors Association, and soon will be retiring, so I'll wave at you when I see you around. I'll miss it. I know I will, but it's time.
I'm Steph Adams, Town Manager. Brian Haney, Assistant County Manager. Chris Coates, Mayor of Coates.
Nick Holcomb, Town Manager, Town of Coates.
Steve Newshafer, City Manager for the City of Dunn.
Jerry Benson, Town Manager for Anger, and I apologize, my mayor had a work schedule conflict today.
I'm City Board Director of Harnett Regional Water.
I'm Glenn McFadden, the Mayor of Lillington, and the Assistant Director of Harnett Regional Water.
I'm Mark Locklear, the Development Services Director for Harnett County.
Joseph Jeffries, Town Manager with the Town of Lillington. I want to thank our state representatives for all the help that you sent our way this past week. It was very appreciative from the town. So, and again.
Brooks Matthews, Harnett County Commissioner.
Matt Nichol, Vice Chairman, Harnett County.
Bill Melmore, Mayor, City of Dunn.
Barbara McCoy, County Commissioner, District 1.
Chris Appel, Senior Staff Attorney for the Harnett County.
George Wood, Interim County Manager.
Coley Price, Assistant County Manager. Mark Johnson, Harnett County Commission, District 2.
Thank you, everyone, for that. About a week ago, I guess it was, may have been a little bit longer ago than that, Senator Bergen called and was talking about the water and sewer situation in Harnett County and suggested that we try to put together this meeting. So at this time, I'm going to turn the program over to Senator Bergen and let him lead the discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to thank everybody for taking time to be here. I was telling Lou, and I know I've said this to Brooks and others, but I think these meetings are so important going forward, and I hope you will continue them collectively. If you think about it, you all represent the whole county and everything that happens in the county. And I just think this is a great way to get people together. In Raleigh, we've been able to do a lot of things, getting stakeholders together, and what better stakeholders are there in the county than this group and you all. I want to brag on somebody, and I told him I was going to, but Representative Strickland was one of the appropriations chairs. He's one of the guys that actually worked on the budget the whole time for the House. There was a group, how many do y'all have from the House? 8? 8 from the House and 3 from the Senate that put in a ridiculous number of hours. They would be up there when we were there, and when we'd leave, they'd still be up there, and the nights that I'd stay, they would still be up there. So a lot of the things that are in the budget, and especially a lot of the things that Howard and me and John Sauls got in, were because they saw the importance of it, kept it in, put enough other things in there to get bipartisan support, which was so crucial this time. And really, we presented a budget that the governor was going to be hard-pressed not to sign because it was that good a budget. And he said that. There were things in it he didn't like, but there were so many great things in it. So when you start getting that money for water and sewer and infrastructure, other infrastructure issues, and for all the different things that are coming to Harnett County, you need to be very appreciative of the folks that worked a lot of time to get it in there. When Brooks and I had some conversations, and I know, and Lou and I had conversations, and many of you about this money and water and sewer, and the mayor and I had been together a lot talking about the moratorium in Dunn. So that started, gosh, how long has that been going on?
Since May.
So we started talking about it and started getting folks involved. He and a number of the folks came up to visit and talk to all of us. And then I got Secretary Baser to come down there, to come down and visit to see what, and it was her first visit out to a facility. And part of what she said during the meetings, and she visited Dunn, and she came over and visited with George and Coley and who else was it? Steve was in that meeting. And then we had some conversations following that. And one of the things she said, Jim, I want to help, but I want to help everybody. And the best thing that you can do is get everybody together and come up with a plan. And Representative Strickland will tell you, there is a ton of money available for water and sewer projects. Not only the money that you got or it's already been allocated, but there's a lot more money. But the way they're going to look at it is they're going to look at what are people doing together and handling regional problems and regional ideas. So listening to her, talking to them, I shared that I think that we ought to approach this with a big concerted effort for Harnett County, because Harnett County already sells, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, we sell to 5 counties now? Yes. So we already have a regional system, but where there's talk about Dunn putting in another water plant, Harnett County's talking about putting in another water plant, Joseph's talking about sewer issues, Andrew wants to do more things. There ought to be a way that we collectively put together an organization and or an agreement so that we don't duplicate or compete, that we share and invest jointly with, every kind of in real estate, when I'm working on a deal, I always talk to people about cross-access agreements for parking and everything else, because I want everybody to agree going into it on what we want to do. But capacity, we're talking about maybe building 2 water plants that would be right beside each other. Why not build one big plant and then everybody have a percentage of the capacity based on what the total investment is and how much water you're going to need? But we need to be looking out years and years and years. Who best knows the idea? Mark, how many houses are going to be built in Harnett County in the next 5 years?
Next 5 years?
Next 5 years.
Close to 10,000.
You know the number I've heard? 50,000. Now these are developers and folks that have been contacting. Coley was mentioning some developers. This morning I've talked to 2 developers and had an offer on a tract of land, and I've got one developer right now that's wanting to find 500 acres in Harnett County to build something on. He's worried me to death. He called me last night wanting me to call somebody I know, and because he wants to try to go ahead and buy their land. And I don't know, 50,000, just think what that does to not only your infrastructure, your schools, everything, transportation. You're gonna have to help with that too. But think about how that's gonna change. And then when we talk about the new road that's gonna be coming through Harnett County, the new interstate that they're talking about, they're buying up the land right now around to finish the bypass, Mr. Chairman. And that's going on. But just in the last week, I've had people from California come up and introduce themselves to me, from New York come up and introduce themselves to me, from Florida that came up and introduced themselves to me, all saying we've just moved to Harnett County and we love it. So when I look at that, then I think, who better to deal with these issues and opportunities than all the elected officials and the managers that make everything happen in our towns and county. So George, there's going to be a lot of opportunity. And I think we're up to the challenge of it. Folks, Wake County is the largest county in North Carolina now. It passed Charlotte last year. That is not going to stop. You all saw what Toyota just announced yesterday. $1 billion investment, soon to be $3 billion over the lifetime of the project. I promise you this park in Chatham County is going to do the same thing. That's going to be the next one there'll be a big announcement in. And all of that affects us. They say anything within 35 to 50 miles of you has an effect on you. And we're going to be dealing with that because Harnett County is still one of the cheapest places to live. If you work in Wake County and you don't want to pay the Wake County prices and you start looking outside, Johnston County was the first place they went, and you all have exploded. Fastest growing county in the state, right?
Yep.
And Harnett County's getting that too. And where we've missed some of, I think, our opportunity, but I think we can still do it, is Johnston County and Lee County became known for the pharmaceutical end of it. And just about everything that comes to North Carolina now that's pharmaceutical related, that doesn't want to be in the Research Triangle Park, they look to Johnston County and they look to Lee County. Lee County, I think, has in the last 24 months landed close to $2 billion worth of investment. And I don't know what's Johnson County's now. It's ridiculous amount. So whether you like what we're talking about or not, you're going to need to kind of figure out how to deal with it. So I hope that one of the things that everybody agrees to is let's all figure out how to work together. We're going to, all three of us, and John Sauls are all committed to Harnett County and to working and to do it. And you can look at the budget and see all the things that were in the budget that are just fantastic. I mean, $10 million here, $30 million, there's money that's there, and there's a lot more money available. But what I'd love for us to do is quickly put together a plan and then present it to the secretary and then get our folks who will do the actual request and everything on board. But the secretary's committed to working with us to try to make it happen. Wake County's going to need more water, and we're a good place to generate it. Steve, you guys have done a fantastic job. You're authorized right now up to 69 million gallons a day.
Out of our current intake, yes.
Yeah. So with another intake and all that, I think you remember when we were together one time, I told you I'd love for Harnett County to be authorized to do 100 million gallons a day. And that ought to be that ought to be a goal, is to do that. And I'm assuming this is true. One time I made the statement, for 10 years in a row, we had some of the best water quality in the country. We got an award for it every year. I imagine that's still the case, isn't it?
We've gotten it every year.
Think about that, folks. Harnett County's generating some of the best water in the country, and we need to be recognized for that. I've told folks for however many years I've been around politics and everything, that is our gold mine, and we need to be mining it strategically. And because a lot of other people are trying to figure out how to get water, and a lot of people are dealing with sewer. Mr. Mayor, you're not the only one that's got sewer issues, and so infiltration, we've talked about that. We got to, if we approach this, that we're going to try to deal with our infiltration issues, and we're going to deal with I know Irwin, for years, Irwin has been trying to replace a lot of their old clay pipes and asbestos pipes, and I have a piece of a wood pipe from Fayetteville do you remember when they were replacing lines, you all were doing stuff down there? A guy brought me a piece of one of the old wood. They hit one of the old wood pipes that was in the ground in Fayetteville when they were working on Fort Bragg or somewhere around Fort Bragg. Anyway, Mr. Chairman, that's kind of what I thought we ought to talk about, and I know that Representative Strickland and Representative Penny have some thoughts, and then I guess the thing is, what do we do next to prepare to deal with this? I don't want us to leave money on the table that we can get. And folks, this is not money you pay back. These are going to be grants. And you never want to turn a grant down. What you talk about?
I'm delighted to be here today in Harnett County. Last time I was down here, we had a luncheon with the county commissioners, and they put together a wish list, and I think maybe we hit and got a lot of those accomplishments done. But just a little bit about me and my background. I grew up in Johnston County on a farm in eastern Johnston County. I served on the Board of Education for 18 years before I went to the building in Raleigh General Assembly, they call it. We built, and remember, I'm a product of the school system, but in that 18 years, we built 25 new schools in Johnston County, and it was because of the explosive growth coming out of Wake County. And when I look at Harnett County, I can see the very same thing that's going on here that occurred in Johnston, still going on in Johnston. And my goal, working with Representative Howard and Senator Bergen and Representative Sauls, was to try. I had the opportunity to be in the room, but these guys put together the list and pursued getting all the input from the municipalities. And really, I mean, Howard, just every day talking about a municipality in Harnett County, what they needed, we need to add this to the list. And that's when you get a team together and you're able to be in the room where the money's at, you know, that you have opportunities is what I call it. So we have accomplished something that has never been done in the state of North Carolina. It's the largest state budget that's ever been passed. And on top of that, and mixed in with that, is this federal money. And there's just a lot of opportunities on the table. I represent 8 municipalities, Andrew, and then 7 in Johnston, mostly up and down I-95. It's low, free and reduced lunch school communities, children in schools, low income. And these systems in these municipalities, I know for Benson, dates back to the late 1930s. And so we've got all this money in Harnett and Johnston and across the state that it's not got to be paid back. It's your money. It's come down to your county, and you've just got a golden opportunity as municipality and county leaders to make it happen. Where when you get down the road 20 years from now, we're looking in the rearview mirror for our children and grandchildren, we would have done the right thing. And that's, Senator Bergen's correct. It's just using the opportunity, maximizing the dollars. We have got to deal with inflation. You know, whenever money's dropped, whether it's school a statewide bond issue and they drop money in, and all these counties have school money where everybody's chasing the contractors and the materials, everything goes up. And that's what we're going to see here. So to be able to leverage the inflation with the dollars that we've got is having a good game plan, because we're not going to probably get the bang for the dollar that we would hope because of inflation, because of, you know, we're hearing it in the news, the materials, the labor, the contractors, there's going to be a run on the contracts. I've already told my folks in Johnston, the municipality, I told them 2 months ago, I said, y'all need to start talking. You need to, you know, you both need 2 municipalities. You need to start working with a contractor so you can get out there when this money drops, you're ready to chase, you know, get going. So I'm just glad that I've had the opportunity to work with the Harnett County delegation, and I'm thankful that we've been able to do this. You got a great opportunity here, and I will just say this, Senator Bergen's right. There'll be some more money, probably from Washington, but we didn't spend all the money in Raleigh either. So, you know, how when we go back in the room next spring, you know, we still got to deal with our Senate colleagues and the chamber colleagues, but you know, there'll be additional sales tax with, you know, the products going up. There's more tax there, and just the fact that, you know, we did not spend the money. So we'll see how that goes, but it's just a great opportunity. It's a game changer for this county to be able to prepare for the growth that you're going to see, and you're going to see it, and you're seeing it now, and just, get the infrastructure in the ground, get everything built, and try to maximize your dollars, and work jointly together, and it'll be a good day and a good future for Harnett County by doing that with your dollars that you've got coming.
I'd like to thank Representative Strickland. I was a freshman legislator this year, and he kind of took me under my wing. He was my go-to guy, so he was around. At that time, he was around the corner from me, and I'd go down and we would sit and we would talk about things, because obviously he had the municipality of Andrew, and so anything, coordination discussions, because the other municipalities I was calling the mayors and sometimes the town managers to make sure we had everything we needed. And I'd always go see Larry and say, have we got Andrew included in this? And so he kept me up to speed the whole time. And I am on appropriations, but he's a senior chair. He's got a big gavel. I'm just sitting back at the back of the bus. But you're right. And then coordinating. I always try to make sure I'm there before Senator Bergen gets there, so I can get a parking space to see if I beat him there. And it's I would say, and these gentlemen will tell you the same thing, it's not an 8 to 5 job. If you think it's an 8 to 5 job, you probably don't want to go to Raleigh. We get in there early of a morning. Sometimes we're there till late at night. That's not even the times that the speaker has told us to be in session late. Tremendous amount of reading. Tremendous amount of reading. You have to read bills. You have to look at bills. You have to have an understanding. But I agree with what the Representative Strickland just said. And that's the reason I've talked to Mayor Elmore, Mayor Carson, Mayor Jeffries. Who am I leaving out? Somebody. Oh, Croats, Mayor, my own town. And actually, I went and sat down with Steve Ward about a week or so ago, because if anything, as a freshman, I felt like I failed my towns and my citizens was I didn't ask for enough money. But as Steve and I were talking the other day, we never knew to ask for this kind of money before, because of the enormity of the federal money and dollars coming down. Larry was at a senior chair. He got to see the monies that was coming in. And so as a result of that, obviously, Andrew got a lot of money. Dunn got a lot of money. And then there's some other things, line item things that I asked y'all for a wish list. I said, give me some small projects and some large projects, and y'all gave them to me, and we had to actually put that up, write it up, and then we put it into Kyle Hall, Representative Kyle Hall. He was kind of gleaning all that stuff and accumulating it so we could go to the request. So that was the process. And of course, in the last probably 30 days, I've gone back to all the mayors and said, okay, we got this money and all that's great, but as Senator Bergen just said, there's a lot more money. And so I've asked Director Ward, give me your county projects and your dates. What's coming up? What do we need? What's going on? Went to the towns. I've done the same thing. Tell us what we need. So here's the three of us in Representative Sauls. We're committed to trying to get that money. But unless you let us know what I call your shovel-ready jobs, or what your long range, it's kind of hard for us. Sometimes we guess right and we ask for it, but if you don't let us know, it's very difficult to do everything that we're committed to doing. We were very blessed this year that, and I'm going to give him a lot of credit for it on the House side, to get us the big monies that we got for a lot of projects, because he was sitting there and knew the monies that was coming, how it could be earmarked, where it could go to. He shared that with me, and we worked together as a team, and we accomplished a lot. And I'm not leaving Senator Bergen out, because he's on the Senate side. So you had a governor's budget, you had a Senate budget, and then you had a House budget where we got into a lot more of the details. And then they were both, I guess, were you on the conference committee? Both of them were on the conference committee when the Senate and the House started arguing back and forth, they come to the final number. Those groups got together and actually worked out the amount of monies that ended up in the budget that was approved eventually in the chambers, but it was also approved by the governor. But the three of us are committed to doing what we can for Harnett County, but you guys have got to let us know, and we've all got to work together. Because with all the growth that's coming, we're all going to be part of that growth. If we work together, we get the infrastructure in place, and that's key. We're getting plenty of rooftops, but we need some industry to come in here. In water, sewer, natural gas, fiber, something that we all talk about in the education system. We trying to educate kids, and we don't, I call it American smoke signals. We just don't have any capacity for internet. So there's a lot of things that's being worked on. We want to continue to work on.
I will say this, and Senator Bergen and Representative Howard, that airport you've got is very important. We learned that in Johnston County, and in Johnston, we got a second-year appropriation in this budget, but, you know, the appropriation that you got for the airport, there'll be other appropriations and more budgets, but that, what we found in Johnston, we've got a conference room in the complex at the airport. People fly in, they go in the conference room, they look at the certified sites across the county, and then they get in the airplane, they go circling the county, and then they get back and they leave, and nobody ever knows they're there. But that your airport's very important too. So as you grow that, you're going to see that will help your economic development quite a bit.
Thank you. Just a couple of other things. A lot of you all do business with Ricky Temple, and I was talking to him the other day, and I made this comment on a show and in a conference. Utility pipe that he was paying just a month ago, $3 a foot for, has gone to $9 a foot. I called him to confirm that, Steve, because I said, Ricky, did I hear you right when you told me about this? His diesel fuel bill has jumped $3,500 a week. So as Larry and I were talking earlier, what we're concerned about is all this money that's coming, and I don't want all of us to get half the value of that money that we would have gotten 6 months ago or a year ago. So we really need to be careful, and I think working as a group, you know, we can control those costs a lot better. And I'll encourage you, Steve, you all may already do this, but I'm putting in every contract now a materials clause that says, you know, that as materials go up and down, you know, there's a cap on the up, but there's no cap on the down. Because a project I'm getting ready to do, the materials actually dropped right now, but I know it's getting ready to go back up. But we were looking at doing a commercial 4-bay building. I'd gotten a price a little over a year ago. I got the updated price about 30 days ago, and it had doubled that price in a year. And they said it was the steel, and it was up, and just everything was up on it. So keep that in mind as you go forward. And really, we want to listen to you all now. And you kind of heard where we are. We're committed to help any way we can. But you need to tell us what you can do and what you want to do. And what I hope at the end of the day that everybody agrees that we're going to do it together. We're going to lock our arms and fortunes together and all succeed and prosper and make this county shine, because that's going to be the safest way to do it. I think it'll be the cheapest way to do it, and I also think it'll be the fastest way to do it, because you'll have a lot more clout with DEQ on a project if they know it's a county-wide regional project than if it's done doing it, or if it's Coates doing it, or if it's Lillington or Irwin or, you know, whoever, Ange or whoever does it. I think that's what they want. Is that what you've heard from them? That's what I hear every time, and I talk to them a lot. Something else, there is a ton of money, healthcare, mental health, $675 million of new money in the budget. That's new money in the budget, over and above. And on top of that, it looks like we're going to get about $9 billion in the next $1.2 trillion Build Back Better, and no, not the Build Back Better. That's even going to be more money in the infrastructure bill. another $900 million. And I don't know how much the county's getting because I haven't got the final number. There's another $800 million in this pharmacy settlement that's coming to the state. And we've been working with the Attorney General on that. So that's going to be coming to the counties over the next number of years because the counties get the majority of the money directly. But it has to go toward opioid and treatments and all of those things. I'd never in my lifetime thought I'd see this much money flowing. Now, the problem is, you know, what's next? You know, and I'm afraid inflation is the next thing we're going to be dealing with. So I don't know how you want to handle
If I
this.
can say one thing, this is something that's happened relatively recently with this viable reserve money. Y'all probably been following what's happening in Spring Lake with the state treasurer's office taking over the town and that sort of thing. So DEQ, who is in charge with the state treasurer's office of this viable reserve fund, have contacted the county and want us to look at treating Spring Lake sewer eventually. So this is all preliminary, but it makes sense for that sewer to come to us, just the way everything works hydraulically from the lower Little River where our plant is in the southern part of the county. So we may be involved in that process of us treating Spring Lake sewer, upgrading our plant, you know, in southern Harnett County in order to do that. So any help from the delegation would be appreciated in that process. I don't know what goes through you guys as far as what DEQ and State Treasurer's Office approves or delegates, but just keep that in the back of your mind. That's going to be an ongoing process. We meet with them later this week at Spring Lake's old wastewater treatment plant. So we originally were going to treat their waste anyway, and they were going to close that plant back when we started treating Fort Bragg's wastewater gym. And so but Spring Lake backed out of that deal, but it just makes sense going forward for us to do that. So those are the type of opportunities that are happening as well with this federal money and the state money and this viable reserve fund. So there's all sorts of wheels turning out there as far as regionalization and that sort of stuff. So just want to let you
And see,
aware of
that's,
that.
and Steve, I'm glad you said that. That is a perfect opportunity for me to say to the secretary, look, we're going to help you out and take care of your problem. But here's what we need. You know, you need to help us with this other. So that's great. Would you share as much detail as you can with me on that?
Sure, and we're trying to leverage that too, because we've got a situation out in western Harnett where we have to pump all that to Anderson Creek. You know about that, all that development there. So if we can pump that into Spring Lake directly, we can sort of kill two birds with one stone there and take care of that issue out in western Harnett. So we're trying to leverage that and use and get DEQ's approval to do all that. So, I mean, they need us in this situation, so there's ways that we can all benefit together.
That's great.
I'd like to open this discussion up to, we haven't heard from any of the municipalities. I'd like to hear from the municipalities, your thoughts on what we've heard so far today.
I can speak for Angier, and I know we met with the county last week, and we talked about an urban service area that I think would definitely benefit the town, so we're all working on that with the county. But the mayor's always has indicated municipalities as a part of Angier, we're like kind of like a family. And I think you just mentioned you've got a number of contracts outside of Harnett County and other counties. And I know we've talked about it. I know I joked about it last week, but we would like to have the family discount, being a part of Harnett County and getting some discount by being the municipality in Harnett County and charging those other counties a little bit of higher price and have Harnett County look after its own. And that's all we've ever talked about. We love the fact that regionalism is a great idea. It's just how we're going to put all this together.
I've got a question, and then a bit of a comment. On the money that's coming down now, there's 27 projects that are listed under the section 1213E, the at-risk projects, and they're a little bit different than the others.
what's the difference in the two? What does it mean in the at-risk section? What does that mean? And the reason I ask is because Lillington's listed under there, so I was wondering.
My understanding is it's a ranking within DEQ. I mean, they're the ones that have gauged the severity of what's going on with that particular municipality or and why the need is there.
Okay.
Can you be
Well, I
more
guess someone-
specific?
Yeah.
Can you, well, basically it says section 1213 at-risk projects. Of the funds allocated by subdivision A2 of this section, the following sum shall be granted to the indicated local governments and public entities for water, wastewater infrastructure projects. And there's, like I said, 27 of them. One of which just says $3,150,000 to the town of Lillington. That's all it says. So I was just wondering why is that different than the other sections? Is there something, I guess what I'm getting at, is there something special with this that we're supposed to understand?
It's special money.
It's special money?
And if
I think it's all special money.
If I remember right, and Howard, I don't.
But it's special money for,
It's special for
yeah,
them.
exactly. Well, for example, every one of the municipalities up and down I-95 in my district were in that at-risk category. And that made my job much more easier as far as getting shares in that particular pot. And again, I used the leverage of DEQ and what they were saying about those in particular municipalities, and that made, that was a pot of money that was identified, and because of the tag that DEQ had put on that municipality, I guess, surface interest, water runoff, going into the systems, but I didn't get a lot of questions about, once it became known that they were targeted or identified at risk as far as getting appropriation for that particular municipality, it made it easier to get.
Glenn, one of the things too is in conversations with Joseph about expansion and everything else, as we talk to the folks on our side, because they're all talking in the House side, we're all talking in the Senate side, and we would say, and Joseph had talked to me about sewer lines that he needed to run and water lines that that you all were trying to do. So we passed all the information that a lot of you sent us, we sent to our staffs, and then they,
So there's just nothing special with that as far as any other strings that need to be attached or anything?
No.
You can
use
and I would say some of the gauging of why the money went in that direction is the age of the system, how old it is. As I said earlier, I've got a lot of municipalities up and down that I-95, especially Benson. I'm talking about old 1930s and 40 pipes in the ground. And it's just they're having infiltration of water every time it rains, and their sewer bills going up because of that. And so it was all about trying to replace some of those older systems.
And one of the things that's hurting really all the municipalities across there is the way we have to collect the system development fees for new construction. It says now that you have to collect them at the time of the building permit. So what that does is that puts the municipalities really out there in the limb when they allocate the sewer or water for that matter, because they have to do it so many years in advance. So we're having issues with large developments because we're seeing a little bit of a change in the trend where you're looking at 1,000-lot subdivisions at one time. So they want to permit as much as they can, and we certainly want to try to accommodate that, but it's a little bit difficult because we can't collect any of those fees until the actual house is on there, which could be several years later. I think there's been some discussion over the years about maybe some changes in that to give a little more flexibility of when we can collect it. But when that came down a couple of years ago, that's really created a hardship on us on how we do our financing and collecting of the.
How many Harnett County municipalities is on that list? that you just, is it just Lillington or every one of them?
On the at-risk list.
Yeah,
The at-risk is just Lillington.
okay.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering, I don't really care that it's that, I just wanted to make sure there wasn't something we didn't know that was different from the other, and how we had to.
You're at risk of growing fast. It's a
That's
problem.
fine.
It was thinking y'all were worried about the mayor and that.
That's right.
Yes.
Joseph just said that he needed it for you, right? That's all I remember.
I keep asking him what he asked for, he won't tell me, so anyway.
It's a surprise. It's a Christmas gift.
I just want to make sure we weren't at risk of going to jail if we spend it on all.
But now, I will say this, I'm sure at some point in time, you know, you're gonna have a set of rules to go by. Cause there's gonna be,
Account for it.
yeah, there's gonna be, you know, accountability.
No, the state's already
Yeah,
reached out
yeah.
to us.
Yeah.
We just
So-
got this information today,
Yeah.
or I just did, I should say, and I didn't know what it meant, so I thought while we had you, we'd find out.
Let me ask you a question. Did they tell you when you're gonna get the money?
Yeah,
I don't think they talked, they just said to try to keep it at one project, that it was part of the ARP funds,
Mhm.
that it was easier if you left it within one project because of.
For accountability.
In our situation, what we seen, we didn't get, you know, some of the things are pretty specific in some of the money, but then others, like on this wastewater, doesn't really spell out.
how much money is it?
It's 3 million, and so it doesn't really spell out what it was for, so if it's for a specific project or need to be, we'll use it for that. But we just, like I said, I didn't know if there's any other regulations.
I know staff, I talked to staff the other day about the reporting, because I said, I'd like to see what we're gonna require these people to do. And this morning I was on the phone about flood money from 2 years ago, and folks still aren't getting it. You know, there's still tons of money sitting in that account, and I had LT on the phone this morning from the governor's office, and she's looking into it, because I've got one particular folks that I've helped from the day they had the flood forward, and they still haven't gotten the money. And it's always, well, we need one more form, or we need one more this. And so I've asked about what we're gonna be required to do for this water and sewer money. And they said they're still working with the feds, but there will be some reporting, and they have to report back to the feds. And I'm just afraid there's so much money that we're not gonna be able to spend it, and there's gonna be a lot of reversions.
Well, it's difficult for the small towns to kind of chase those dollars. You know, we get turned down when we know that the expense should qualify, so we continue to go after it. We just got some money just recently that we had to, I think was denied a couple of times before we got it. And just with limited staff and resources, it's really hard to go after those dollars like that for us. So, but we did. I mean, we were very fortunate this past go around. So, can I mention one thing? I know the mayor just spoke about water and sewer, which is great. Fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate everything that y'all do for us. I see from a big picture, one of the biggest issues that Harnett County's gonna face is transportation. I guess the lack of funding with DOT and this urban and rural divide for us seems to be real. Our county's split up between FAMPO, CAMPO, and the RPO. And don't take this the wrong way, but we don't get a whole lot out of the RPO right now. And so I see that as one of the biggest issues. I mean, water, sewer, obviously, you know, you gotta be prepared. That's one of the things I always preach about. You know, we gotta have that infrastructure, but the roadway system is gonna really suffer over the next 10 years. If you talk about just the number of people that are gonna come to Lillington, there's no planning right now. I'm calling them and saying, hey, help me out. You know, I'm gonna need some help here, you know, with the transportation planning part of it, and I've been talking with Harnett County, but I would like to see Harnett County, not for the municipalities, I know we have our own transportation plans, but I believe it would be really important for us to have some type of transportation planner, that can help coordinate FAMPO, CAMPO, and RPO. Try to explain that to some people. It can be very difficult sometimes, and so I think we have a lot of great things in front of us as we go forward for economic development. I'd love to see us have more there, but transportation, we're going to really struggle there because it's just so divided right now. There's just not enough, in my opinion, being done there. And I know it's funding. I get it. I mean, I get that. So, but I don't know what we can do to be better prepared transportation-wise. So.
Let me piggyback on that a touch, if I may. Thank you for bringing that up. One of my top priorities we've had study after study after study done, but it seems like nothing ever gets put on the ground for Harnett County. 2005, biometrics had a $5 million study for Highway 401 out here. $3 million was spent for environmental assessment, and nobody knows what happened to it. 2012, we did a $1 million study with Southwest Area Study with Campo. It came back in 2019 and updated that study with well over $1 million. Now we're in another study with 401 that Mark is dealing with Campo. And so where are we going? My point to that is, and Jim, you and I have talked about this, do you know we're the only county that doesn't have a 4-lane road going into Wake County?
Still, that's gonna change.
I know it will, and I'm not throwing darts at anything, but I'm just saying, what can we do a better job of to come together collectively, what Joseph is talking about, to get the people in the room to put something on the ground? It took 7 years to get Andrew bypass.
If you all would start meeting quarterly, who says that you don't have this next meeting with all of you all in the room with DOT?
I agree.
Greg Burns would be happy to come. I'm meeting with him and the new district engineer, and I cannot take, Drew and I are supposed to be meeting, and, but you ought to get, because Greg knows more about transportation for our area than anybody I know, but him, Reggie, Drew, about the secretary to come. I guarantee you the secretary doesn't get to come and meet with every municipality in a county and the county all at one time. Rarely does. And I know him real well. Larry knows him real well. Howard knows him. We'll invite him to come and he'll come. We just need to get it on his calendar and he'll come. Because with this announcement of what they're going to do, bringing a new interstate through part of Harnett County, and then everybody knows there needs to be another bridge somewhere up here. And the original idea was it would be 4-lane from Fayetteville to Raleigh was the original plan, and then all that kind of fell apart. But I've been challenging them to do it from Lillington into Wake County. Start with that section and then work on the next section down at a later date. But it's going to be critical, I think, to do something about 401. 210 backs up. The other day I was coming back from Raleigh, and from Anger, it was backed all the way up to Food Line going up the hill. That's how far traffic was backed up coming through Anger. And people are going to look at that and say, wait a minute, this is like living in downtown Raleigh or North Raleigh now. My LA lives in North Raleigh. She used to live right downtown. It took her 5 minutes to get to the building. It takes her longer to get to the building from North Raleigh than it takes me from Anger to get to the building.
A question, I guess, for you, Lou, 'cause I think Lou's on Campo and also to Coley and maybe even Mark. There was a lot of discussion when the census came out about the growth, about Campo expanding its footprint in Harnett County. Is there any more discussions, and where do we stand on that? That would solve some of the issues about the RPO. And I was just wondering if that had been discussed any more recently, or?
We have had some discussions on that. We met with Campo and the people from Campbell University recently. There's, according to what they're saying, apparently there's still one set of census numbers they haven't gotten, and they're waiting on those. I'm not sure what those numbers are, but they're waiting on the federal transportation people to tell them how much they've got to expand Campo, and apparently there's going to be quite a bit of expansion in Johnston County, and that could impact how much expansion there is in Harnett County.
One of the key factors that was hit on that Representative Strickland talked about, because one of the original thought processes that when I was county commissioner, we had asked Campo to go all the way to the airport, which is very vital for one reason,
We're still
because we
doing
could
that.
get a heck of a lot of money coming if we could get another airport, because only the, not the Raleigh Executive Airport, but just a little smaller airport. And so that would give us a lot of federal monies if we could extend the line down there and then either take it to Coates and back to the Johnston County line or the old stage road or somewhere to try to get Campo's footprint bigger, because most of you know the RPO really doesn't have any money, because it's going to be FAMPO and Campo, and FAMPO is not aggressive at all compared to Campo. So the more footprint we can get in Campo, the better off it's going to be for us financially.
We're still having, we're still trying to get Campo to take out to the airport and back towards Coates, to take in Campbell, and to take in all of Lillington.
Thank you, I just didn't know where we stood on it.
And there's also some ongoing discussions about, there's a lot of pressure to try to remove the 401 corridor study and plans from the MTP 2050. We're going to hopefully tomorrow vote to not do that, to keep that in there. And we're also going to have a discussion tomorrow and hopefully pass looking at a couple of alternatives for 401. One of the things that I have been pushing for, and as has some people in Campo, is we may have a new 401 as opposed to the current 401. And it may solve the 210 problem. That's one alternative that's being talked about. So we are looking at all those things as we move forward. So, Mayor Elmore, I haven't heard from you. What are your thoughts?
Well, first I'd like to thank the board for setting this meeting up. I think it's good for all of us to sit around and have communication and find out what each of our needs are, and Dunn is happy to engage in this conversation. I'd like to thank representatives and the senator for your support and for the funding that Dunn, as well as all the municipalities, were able to obtain during this last round of funding. Dunn is certainly in favor of a regional approach. As most of you know, Dunn and Four Oaks have entered into an alliance agreement, and we've hired an economic developer that will be promoting Interstate 95 and the areas along the interstate for industrial recruitment and retail and all sorts of things. We're very excited about that, and we look forward to moving forward with that alliance. We would like to create the same type of alliance or a similar type of alliance to partner with others in the county with some of the things that we're doing as well. A part of Dunn's long-range plans are replacement of our water treatment plant, which is 65 years in age. Plant's running fine now, but we know it's beginning to reach the end of its life cycle. As Steve has mentioned there, in a number of counties, and Dunn over the years has created a partnership with them. We serve 4 counties out of our Dunn plant, that being Cumberland County, Johnston County, Sampson County, and Harnett County. So we're regional, just not as large as what Steve has. We're in the process now, part of our long-range plan has been to talk to others about participating in capacity in our new plant that we're planning to build. And I think the timing is good, because I could see a partnership maybe that, that the county could participate some with, with our needs and what we would like to accomplish and what the needs are in that part of the county and that part of the surrounding counties that we currently serve. As far as our sewer plant's in good shape. It's the old pipes that are in the ground, like Representative Strickland said a few minutes ago. Some of Dunn's water pipes are 75 to 100 years old. The majority of them are aged like that. And when we weather like today, we have no problems at the treatment plant. But when it rains, we have a serious problem, and we're taking on more water through pipes all over town. And we're on a program now. We've already started sleeving, doing some sleeving and pipe replacement and that sort of thing that we've had in place for a long time. We've spent several $1 million over the last couple of years, and we've got several $1 million in our budget now. And with the money that's being afforded to us or awarded to us from the state is going to help us tremendously in getting caught up and getting on track and help us for the next 30, 40, 50 years. One thing we've done, and I didn't realize when I ran for mayor a couple of years ago, was the condition of all of our infrastructure is old and dated. As I said, our treatment plant is 65 years old. Our sewer plant is to the point with I&I problems that we're under a moratorium. Our road conditions are not great over there. We're working on that, and then we have stormwater issues. So I think collectively, having meetings like this and determining how we can help each other is a good thing.
Thank you. Mayor Carson, any comments?
Well, I think we're kind of in a different situation because about 16 years ago, we sold our water and sewer to the town because our lines and pipes were in such bad shape. Some have been replaced, I think at least a block. No, I don't know how much that has been replaced, but always need that to be redone. We have some areas that don't have infrastructure, some areas out on 421. And we feel like if we could work that with the county and let's get that done, we could be able to bring more business in. And anything that we bring into Irwin helps the county. We're all in this together. It's not us, you, we're together. And so anyway, we could do that. And if we can request money in Irwin for our infrastructure and things that we need, even though it belongs to the county, the system does, and can be assured that money would be used for that, then we're all for it. We want to do everything we can. We are hurting because we don't have water and sewer to bring money in. It took me 12 years for the town managers to beat me in the head, so we don't have the money. Why can't we don't have the money? And it does make a difference because the money that we got selling the systems, we said, okay, we're gonna use our interest. That's what we're gonna use. Well, interest dropped below, so now we're about paying the banks to keep what little bit of money we have in the banks anymore. But that's what we'd like to see. We do need help. We've got lots of places in Irwin that we need help. And we do appreciate these meetings and getting together. And I know when we started Lou started the mayor's meetings, and it really helped us. And it's good for us to see what each town, and so this is a great opportunity. And I certainly hope you continue to do this because I think it will only build. Steve, you got something?
Ditto.
Okay. See, I've got him trained. I tell you. He's gonna miss me.
I do think we could work with Steve and his group. I think there's some areas in town in our ETJ that there's no water or sewer, and I'm not sure. Steve's the expert on that and his staff. But I think if there's money there, if it can be extended, I think Harnett County would benefit just as much as the town would.
And as far as the infrastructure, probably Irwin is every bit as old as done. I mean, the mill put that infrastructure in, I mean, at the turn of the century. So you're talking about 120-year-old infrastructure in a lot of parts of downtown. And some of that's been replaced and it's doing better, but they're absolutely right. We're doing a metering project now that's going to be a massive undertaking in Irwin simply because, you know, when you've got 120 years of a meter being put in maybe next to the street here, next to the house here, all different types of material being used. When we descend on Irwin to put those meters there, there's going to be a lot of meter infrastructure replacement right there because you know, there's a lot of federal money coming down about lead service pipe replacements. That's going to be a massive undertaking in Irwin. You know, our system is not old enough to have lead service pipes. Harnett County system was started in the late 70s, early 80s. We've got polyvinyl chloride, PVC pipe. So we don't have any lead service line, old galvanized pipe. You know, places like Irwin and older systems are full of that type of infrastructure in the ground. So all that's got to be replaced. It is messy and time consuming, but it will happen. And a lot of that's going to happen in Irwin in the next few years. So a lot of that stuff's going to happen, Patsy, anyway, and it won't be fun to go through, but it's going to happen anyway. So hopefully things will get better there and be brought up to code and that sort of stuff.
Well, I would like to see us get together and let's look at what we've got, what needs to be done.
Sure.
We can hit them hard. They've been wonderful to us. Irwin was kind of you know, I see all this and then Irwin, but that's okay. I understand the water and sewer is very, very important. So I would like to see what we could do to help Irwin and in helping Harnett County.
Mayor Coates?
Our situation is very similar to Dunn and also Irwin. We've old infrastructure in regards to water and sewer pipes. One of the biggest struggles we're having now is we're blessed to see growth that's actually coming in our area. And so with that growth, our sewage capacity is at its maximum with one of our sewage pumping stations. And so we're actually held up a development based upon that, and it's the pumping station between Voice Creek and Coates. So any help in regards to that would be beneficial for us and also for Voice Creek as well. But just any help that we can get in those areas would be beneficial.
And that's a similar situation too. The county owns the sewer system in
That's what I was just
Coates.
asking. Yeah.
So if Coates could request those dollars, it would still be a county appropriation to go forward and do the project on the sewer side. But he's exactly right. That system was built in the early '80s, and so everything is pumped back from Coates all the way to Lillington. So all those pipes and force mains and pump stations need to be upgraded now. It's time. It's time to do that. So when Coates gets more growth, then the system just needs to be upgraded.
Well, those numbers obviously you gave me.
Yes, you got those numbers.
Coates has given me their numbers. I think Lillington's given me more numbers associated with Shawtown. I'm still waiting on Snow to give me Irwin's numbers, so I've been accumulating the numbers, and it's large numbers, but I thank you for the spreadsheets you gave, it's got all that broken.
Oh yeah, our CIP for the next year, just in our department's $171 million. That's just in the next 10 years.
The experience that I ran across when we were in the room discussing the projects, the ownership of the infrastructure, that's where the dollars will have to go to. I had a municipality, Wilson Mills in Johnston, the county owned part of the system and the town owned part of it. The town, because of its growth, is in the process of getting it from the county, but I was able to get them a new town hall with monies that would have been they're the only ones that really didn't get any infrastructure, water and sewer money. But still, there can be an agreement. Money comes to the county, Irwin, X amount of dollars, other one, that's in, we're discussing. But that'll be the flow of the money. It'll be one big amount of money, and then the county can break it out the way they want to.
And I think that's going to send a powerful message if DEQ and staff are looking at a document that's got the signature of every mayor and got the signature of the county, and they say, this is what we're doing, and this is a countywide, and all of us have bought into it. I think that sends a real strong message to everybody that, hey, these guys are working together, and as the secretary has told me, those are the projects we want to help on, because we see that they're fixing their problems. I'm going to use Dunn if I can. They don't want Dunn to have a spill, and because number one, it's bad press, bad news for everybody, and it doesn't look like DEQ's doing their job and everybody else. So they want to get these things done, and I said she's committed to it, and I mean, I'm impressed enough with her that I hope if and when there's a change in administration, they keep somebody like her, because she is engaged. She's easy to communicate with. I mean, you had personal experience with her.
It's nice to have somebody there from Johnston County.
Yeah.
That's where she was raised, so that helps.
Yeah. Yeah, she's been a lobbyist. She's been, she's been on the private side. She's been on the public side. I think she's got the right abilities to navigate this thing. And so when somebody says, if you would do this and this and this, that's what I want to do. I want to attack this whole situation of, hey, we're all together on this, and this is what you're doing. And when you help Coach, you're helping Harnett County. And when you help Dunn, you're helping Harnett County. And when you help Harnett County, you're helping 5 municipalities. And who's to say there's not going to be a 6th one down there one day? I know, Matt, Roger, and folks have been talking about that. We've sent them documents on how to do it. There may very well be another municipality one day down in Anderson Creek.
Anyone else, any of our commissioners have any comments? Yes, ma'am.
First of all, I want to thank the representatives for coming here and meeting with us today and bringing us all this good news, especially about the funds that are coming into this county and all over the state. This is a one-time deal. We've never seen these kind of funds, not in my lifetime. I know I'm not the oldest one here. So, I just want to say that for the first time, I see hope. For the first time, I see hope in resolving some of the problems that we have in this county. Because the county does have a lot of problems when it comes to water, sewer, infrastructure, as well as economic development. When I speak about economic development, I'm talking about the school structure. I'm talking about broadband. I'm talking about water, sewer. And one of the things that I'm hoping and I'm praying that there will be some funds coming into this county to fix some of these distressed areas in this county, especially when it comes to watershed areas. I recently visited an area not far from here where there's so much water standing when it rains, flooding. And some of these people, the water's pushing up the boards in their homes. There's no reason for any citizen to live like that, fighting every day to survive. And you got to know that it affects their health. And our health is important. That's the most valuable thing we can have, is good health. And I just felt that I had to express myself in saying, because I was born and raised here. I know what Harnett County is. I know where the problems is. Not much in Harnett County I don't know about, because Barbara McCoy has not been sitting in the house. I've been going out in the field. And I know what's needed in this county. So I want to thank you. I appreciate you. And I'm hoping from this meeting you'll continue to have more meetings, because this is what Harnett County needs. We are never going to grow our economic development in this county until we fix some of the things that are wrong with this county. And I want to be in a position that Harnett County will be on the news, bringing more jobs, bringing more industry in here, putting sewer and water in places that have never ever had it, because we do have that here. So, thank you. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Commissioner McCoy.
You brought up a point, several good points. But there's one thing we've not talked about today, and there's $1 billion in this budget for broadband. Billion. And it's for the entire state. It's my understanding that every county should be having a consultant to try to identify the donuts in your communities, within your county. But this money's going to come down to the county commissioners. But it's $1 billion. And that, I think, is going to be a game changer. Everybody expects electricity, clean water, and internet. And young people moving back to rural North Carolina, if they can start a business in their homes, they're more inclined to come back and grow and locate where they grew up at. But there is gonna be a lot of good things happen with internet broadband.
And to piggyback on what he just said, rural counties take precedence over the urban areas.
Yes.
The Charlotte-Mecklenburgs, the Winston-Salems, the Triads, Raleigh-Durham. Rural counties take precedence in this money first. It's not gonna go to them and then to us. It comes to us first, and they'll be all interconnected at a point, but the key is so we can get industry into rural North Carolina.
Is that gonna be done on a grant type basis, where we will apply for?
Yes, sir.
We have a consultant finishing up the plan for us, right?
And I was just gonna say, I know most of the municipalities have been contacted by companies, individual companies. Be careful about that. That's one of our fears, is that towns are gonna try to enter into deals for a portion of the county's money to do it. So once again, this group collectively could make some decisions and do one deal rather than trying to do multiple deals. And I think that, don't you think that would work a lot better? I think going forward, you guys are a force to be reckoned with if you work together. I think you'll be able to get a lot more than counties. I talked to all the other senators. They talked to all the other House members. There are counties that are completely dysfunctional right now and at war with each other over stuff. And some of the bills that we hear where, in one county, they're fighting each other for everything from school boards and how they're elected to water projects to all of this. I think the folks that work together and have a plan are going to beat everybody else. Steve, are you all going to take the lead in collecting all of the, I know that it's going to you now, are you all going to take the lead and get everything together and then get everybody back together, report back, and then submit something? Is that what you all are doing?
Yeah, that would be great. We can gather all the information.
I think that you and Glenn are the perfect ones to accumulate the data, put it in them, and then get it back out to everybody so everybody's in agreement, and then give it to all of us. And then let us collectively request it. I'll request it from the Senate side. They'll request it from the House side. I'll hand deliver it to DEQ if we need to, and then ask them to do it. Somebody who said that? Who was the other? Who needs another water tower? It's Andrew, wasn't it? Make sure that he's got that, and things like that I think are going to be real important.
I've got a question. Is that part of the money that's left here? And looking at what Glenn had here as far as this bill, there's a section of money that's talked about that's not yet appropriated.
That's it.
So that's
new money.
That's already in the state budget. That's got nothing to do with this Federal Water Infrastructure Act that was just
The
passed.
$9 billion is going to be on top of that.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying we need to do this now to get ready, because that other money is coming down the pike.
No, we don't talk about it for another 6 months or 9 months and come back to us.
Yeah.
You need to be urgently working on this now.
This is a 30 to 45 day process, I think, that you all ought to be working on.
Okay.
Steve, do you have an appointment this afternoon?
I want you to work as hard as Larry did to get you that money. I want you up at night and everything.
Okay,
Right,
well, does
Larry?
everybody have my contact information? They can just send me directly what
The
your
line's
thoughts
busy,
are.
we're going over there.
You just send it by email. That make sure I'll get it. So, yeah, I'll be glad to assimilate everything and get it back to you as soon as possible.
Well, you guys are the perfect ones to do it.
And then, yes, sir.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I want to make a comment on, or a question on another subject,
Okay.
if it's okay, or you'd rather finish this up?
No, go ahead.
Right. We've been done as a part of the insurance pool with the state, and we've been notified about increases, and directing this towards Senator Bergen, he's in the insurance business, and, but the rate of increase that we're getting ready to experience is gonna cost the city $200,000. And, I don't know what it's gonna cost the county, but, it's big money if this goes through the way they're proposing. I was just wondering if you had any updates on that, or if you're getting other calls from other cities or counties with concerns about this.
It's funny, Mike Causey texted me on my way over here about something else. But I'll reach out to him and get them to do an analysis and tell us what's going on, or I'll talk to Michelle Osborne, the deputy commissioner, and figure it out. I have not seen the actual numbers. Is there?
7%.
I know, but is it 7 across the board, or is it different in
Jim, I
municipalities?
don't have all the details, but I know that a few years ago, it went up $20 per employees for the Dunn employees. Steve, help me with this.
Yeah, so, essentially, we're in the pool with the rest of the state employees, and, for the last 4 years, it's been a $20 or $30 increase per year, which is, per employee per month. And, in August, we were sent something from the state saying that it might be about $40. So we said, okay, well, we can handle that, because obviously our budget's already passed. So, last week, Friday, it was sent out that there's a $168 increase per month per employee.
Wow. That's through the treasurer. So that's who we
Yeah.
talk to. That's through the treasurer. And we'll talk to them and find out. I know that how much money do we put in to keep the healthcare and the pensions and everything up? It was 400 million. It was, how much was it?
I had to look it up.
But any other county or municipality that's in the state pool, the state's been trying to get communities into the pool. So, 5 years ago, we decided to do that, which was a great idea for us. Into a larger pool, less volatility in the healthcare costs, and so we decided to do that.
Could everybody, is this 7 cents, can everybody send us a number, all of us, of what the total it's going to cost you for your employees that are in it?
215 million.
That's just the retirement, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
But then the healthcare is something else.
We're not in the state plan.
You all are, you have your own.
We're self-insured.
Okay.
We're not in it either.
So who's in it? Dunn's in it?
Dunn's in.
Anybody else?
I don't know.
Nobody else is in it?
It says fully fund state health plan requirements and retirement.
Okay. So it's 215 million for the state health plan and the retirement system that the state put in to keep it. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other, counties and cities across the state that are in it, and I know there's a lot of discussion between the ones that are in it, because it was something that wasn't anticipated at all. And basically you have a 1 month indication that, your premiums are going up, from $530 an employee to $647 or whatever.
If you don't care,
A horrendous 3-year experience, right?
what did yours go up this past year?
We're actually selecting a broker.
Right now?
We've gotten bids in for the broker, not the bids for the insurance.
How much was it last year? What was that once?
3 or
You remember how much
4%?
it went up last year?
So the answer is we don't know yet. We'll get it in the spring.
But everybody should know about what they pay per employee per month, ours is about,
848.
how much?
Is it 848? Is that right?
That's what it cost you per employee?
Ours is 496.
$496, yeah.
We're at 6.
Yeah, ours is 850, so she said 848, that's what Kimberly said.
So,
What's yours?
we're good there then,
I was gonna say, you might want to say anything.
No, we were 522 with the state, 522, and now it's going 168 or whatever. Or 668 or whatever.
If I could change the subject, first of all, thank you for the $1 billion for broadband. That's our number one priority, so we appreciate that. The one question I had, and I just haven't kept up with it, is we still had that issue with state law about us being able to use general fund monies or federal monies for broadband. And I think there were some bills introduced that, from NCACC that would have changed that statute so that we could free that money up and use it. I'm assuming since y'all put $1 billion in there, that must have gotten resolved.
I think so. I mean, I think,
Without going back and reading the conference report, I'd be scared to answer that.
Okay.
we know that that money can be used for that, but there are restrictions, you know, and there's, you know,
Well, the federal money allowed it. Our problem was with the state statute, but Brian will check with NCACC since the budget.
There was a resolution in the budget for that. I'm not sure if 100% gave us everything we would want, but there was some other restrictions. But I think this $1 billion might be different than, because everything's a different pot coming from a different place. So
Okay. So you're saying.
I'm not sure about that.
You're saying what he's talking, the $1 billion, is that part of your ARPA money?
yes, I think it's part of it, and part of it's state money, and it was original, however many, what did we have, 300 million originally, and then we added the other 700 from the federal money, does that sound right?
Yeah, something like that.
I think that's what it was, we started off
We
with,
just need to check with
300.
NCACC and let's make sure we can use it.
but all of that billion is for that process. And right now, there's discussions going on with the utilities on using poles and what a pole charge ought to be. And some of the co-ops are wanting them to have to pay for each pole. And, you know, there's all that discussion that people are trying to figure out right now.
Thank you again for putting that in there. That's big for us.
Again, I want to thank everybody for being here today, and especially our legislative delegation. Thank y'all for taking time to meet with us. What I heard going around the room was that I think everyone's in agreement that this is a good thing and that we need to do this. Is everyone in agreement that maybe we ought to look at doing this quarterly? I don't want to do it too often, but I don't want to spread it out so that we don't have any traction moving forward either. If it's quarterly, you know, I would think maybe the next time to meet would be like in maybe February. There may be some new faces in the room at that time. And I'll leave that alone. But at any rate, if that's the case and everyone would like to meet moving forward, we, the county, can pick a time and a date and notify everyone, and we'll meet again sometime in February. And again, thank you for coming. If you will indulge me just a minute, I have to adjourn this meeting. I will entertain a motion from the commissioners to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second? Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. We're adjourned.